here are some of the stories making headlines around the world today. Taiwan accuses the Chinese army of simulating an attack on its main island as Beijing doubles down on retaliation for U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taipei. This after China announces a suspension of cooperation with Washington on key issues. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken meets Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. in a bid to bolster the country's strong alliance. A high-ranking U.S. delegation lands in the Solomon Islands as Washington wrestles with Beijing for influence in the region months after the Pacific nation signed a secretive security pact with China. And North Korea slams U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi over her recent visit to the heavily fortified demilitarized zone, calling her the worst destroyer of international peace. Israel hits Gaza with airstrikes, and a Palestinian militant group retaliates with a barrage of rocket fire in the territory's worst escalation of violence since a war there last year. The frontrunners for Kenya's presidential election make their final push for votes, capping months of frenetic campaigning ahead of the August 9th polls. UN head Antonio Guterres says, quote, humanity is playing with a loaded gun, end quote, as crises with the potential for nuclear disaster proliferate worldwide. Guterres spoke in Hiroshima, Japan, on the 77th anniversary of the first atomic bomb attack. A bomb blast hit Afghanistan's capital, Kabul, on Saturday, and many people were feared injured, witnesses said. The blast hit a busy shopping street in the western part of the city where members of the Shiite Muslim community regularly meet. Iran's foreign minister called on Saturday for a realistic response from the United States to Iranian proposals at indirect talks in Vienna aimed at reviving Tehran's 2015 nuclear deal with world powers. State media reported. Nicaraguan police accused the Catholic Church and Bishop Rolando Alvarez of inciting violence to destabilize the country. He's been under siege in his church residence for 2 days. 11 people are killed and several others injured when a Polish bus bound for Zagreb veers off the highway in northern Croatia, a country that attracts hordes of Polish tourists every year. Chad's military leader arrives in Qatar as his negotiators seek last-minute changes to a landmark deal with opposition rebels that could delay signing the accord, according to diplomats. The death toll from a massive fire that ripped through a Thai nightclub rose to 15 on Saturday, a rescue service said. The fire broke out around 1 a.m. at the Mountain Bee Night Spot in Chonburi province. That's about 150 kilometers southeast of Bangkok. The U.S. jobs market grew much faster than expected in July, lifting employment back to pre-pandemic levels in news welcomed by President Joe Biden as he faces tough midterm elections, but which also fuels concerns over sky-high inflation. And after 18 months, a long-awaited victory for President Biden seems within reach. The U.S. Congress will begin debate on a new version of his cornerstone social and climate reform legislation, which could offer a much-needed triumph for the U.S. president. NASA and the White House has since late last year quietly drawn up contingency plans for the International Space Station in light of tensions with Moscow that began building before Russia's invasion of Ukraine. That's according to multiple sources with knowledge of the plans. The U.S. Space Agency's game planning shows how the U.S. is juggling its relationship with Russia, a crucial ally on the International Space Station project.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.